Runeterra just had their brand new expansion World Walker, and I'm gonna guess if the new champions are good or not. Illaoi, 4 mana 1/6 Overwhelm. You're gonna have to say what Overwhelm is again, I forgot.
Excess damage is dealt to the Nexus.
Okay, attack, spawn 1. Okay, so I'm gonna guess when they say spawn, it's her tentacles, right? Just based on the league champion?
Yeah, so spawn 1 means you get a 1/1. If it said spawn 3, it would mean you get a 3/3 tentacle. And anytime you spawn afterwards, those stats get added on the tentacle that's already on the board.
Oh, okay. And I gain power equal to your strongest tentacles power this round. Oh, that's kind of spicy. So to level up, I've seen tentacles are I deal 15 plus damage. Okay, so when she attacks, she summons a 1/1. So then as she's attacking, she goes to a 2/7. Is that how it works? Just so I understand?
Yes, correct. If you already have, let's say, a 5/5 tentacle on the board, you can attack with both. And then because Illaoi spawns 1 when she attacks, the tentacle becomes a 6/6.
Holy moly, that's pretty sick. Okay, that seems pretty good. Her level up is 4 mana 2/7. When you spawn, increase its value by 1. Attack, spawn 1, then fully heal your strongest tentacle, and I gain stats equal to it. Hold on, my cat is meowing. Give me a second. Oh my god. Can you hear it?
Yeah, I heard it.
4 mana 2/7 Overwhelm. When you spawn, increase its value by 1. Attack, spawn 1, then fully heal your strongest tentacle, and I gain stats equal to its stats this round. Dude, they need to add some commas in this bitch or something. Like, holy shit.
It's unreadable.
When you spawn, increase its value by 1. Okay. And then you also get it for the attack. When one of them spawns, it gets +1 and +1. And then when you attack, it also gets +1/+1, right? Is that how it works?
Yeah, there are multiple cards that spawn, and Illaoi spawns her, like, she has spawned herself too. So but you can only have 1 tentacle at a time, basically. So any spawn will just increase the stats of that.
Okay, so your tentacle is getting pretty big here if she levels up. And they get fully healed. See, that's really good. I mean, if the original Illaoi is decent, or actually just good, you just get a better version of her, then Illaoi seems fine. Illaoi's tentacle smash for 4 mana, it's slow. Spawn 3, then your strongest tentacle and enemies strike each other. It gets +3/+3 for 4 mana. That's really good. Wow, that's pretty nutty. What if there's no enemy? You just hit the Nexus, or does it just get +3? You haven't had that interaction yet, have you?
I've never seen it before, but I think you could just put this card on a stack and you just spawn 3 and nothing happens. You can't target Nexus with it though.
That's still pretty decent. It gets even better if there's no enemy, I'm gonna assume. And this is what a tentacle looks like. Oh, that looks really good. I don't watch hentai, sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm gonna leave that in the YouTube video or not. I'm gonna have to. I'll have to make a judgment call as I'm editing that. The base and the upgraded version of Illaoi seem very good. The tentacle smash is a little bit like, I don't know how valuable getting 3/3 on your tentacle really is, but the fact that it strikes an enemy, you get to pick the enemy, or is it the strongest enemy?
You get to pick.
Oh, that's even better. This is a card I would imagine that if you could build a deck around, she'd be very strong. Like, she can carry a deck. Like, this is your win condition right here. So I'm gonna say this is pretty good.
Yeah, Illaoi is really, really good. She is probably in one of the best decks in the game right now, or at least the highest win rate. But it's actually because Tentacle Smash is so stupidly powerful. There's also a 5 mana burst speed spell called Eye of Nekakeburos, which is a spawn 2, draw 2. So at burst speed, you can just make your tentacle bigger when your opponent tries to interact with them. But Tentacle Smash, what happens is you pick an enemy, and no matter what they do, even if they remove the tentacle, you still spawn a 3/3 tentacle that will strike the enemy you chose. So it's a really good way to start building your tentacle and remove something. It helps Illaoi level because she needs to strike, or the tentacle needs to strike. And if you pair her with a region like Demacia, which has a lot of strike spells, she suddenly becomes almost unstoppable. And when she levels, she will basically win you the game.
Yeah, she seems pretty good. Damn, dude, that's actually nuts. I didn't even consider that it could spawn another tentacle right there.
It's really, really good because I've had scenarios where I would target a 1/1 Zoe or something with Tentacle Smash, and then my opponent would remove my tentacle. But it doesn't matter because it just spawns a new one, a new 3/3, and it kills the Zoe anyway. Really powerful. This is Bart.
Bard. The artwork is so cool. 4 mana 2/3. I don't know what region that is, so don't even ask me.
Okay, so Bart is a Runeterra champion, which means that he does not go in any of the 10 regions, but he has his own region basically, and that gives additional deck building restrictions. And you can see in his origin card, which is at the bottom, the Wandering Caretaker says you may put any card that plant chimes into your deck during deck building. So you have a bunch of cards that have the word chime on it, and the region Bart is basically any card is available as long as it has the word chime on it.
That's okay. So he has to be pretty good on his own then for this card to be, or for that to be worth it.
Yeah, there are about 6 cards that plant chimes.
So the Wandering Caretaker, you may put any cards that plant chimes into your deck during deck building. At the round start, plant a chime in your deck. For each bard that started the game in your deck, what is that sentence? Does that mean for each bard that's in your deck at the start of the game?
Yes. So if you put 3 bards in your deck, that means every round start, you shuffle 3 chimes into your deck. I'll explain what a chime is too, because in Runeterra we have traps. You may have seen cards from Teemo called puff caps, which are basically cards that attach them to another card. And if your opponent draws a card with a shroom on it, they get the card and they take 1 damage from the shroom. Bard is the opposite. He shuffles chimes, and if you draw a card with a chime on it, it gives a random ally in hand +1/+1.
And that's completely random, right? Like you could draw like 3 in a row.
Exactly. Okay. There are also, I'll give this away. There are 2 followers that say plant a chime on the top card of your deck.
Okay, so chimes. This is a toxic card. Okay, this is a very toxic card because getting +1/+1 in the early game is insanely powerful. So the variance of this card is pretty toxic just from that alone. Attack, plant 3 chimes on random cards in your deck. To level up, you've increased the total stats of allies in play or hand by 20 plus. Okay, so he doesn't even have to be in your hand for you to see that. Okay, that's pretty good. All right, the level up is 4 mana 3/6. Attack, plant 6 chimes on random cards in your deck. When you activate a chime, grant +1/+1 to a random ally in play. Okay. On attacking for this is fine, but it can also just grant it on himself. Okay. That's all right. It's all right. Okay, this card's toxic, man. Man, if this card was in Hearthstone, dude, I'd be losing it. Okay, hold on. Let me finish the card. Bard's Traveler's Call. It's a burst spell for 3 mana. Draw a follower, then activate the effects of all boons in the top 3 cards of your deck. Boons are like the chimes, right?
Yeah.
So if it activates the boons, when you draw that card, do you still get another chime?
Yeah, if the follower you draw has a chime on it, you get that. And then the 3 cards that are then on top of your deck, it will activate all the chimes.
But when you draw one of those cards that you just activated with the chime, do you still get another chime, or is that chime gone?
Oh, you still get them. Yes, they stay in the top 3 cards of your deck. You just activate them.
Yeah, this card's toxic, man. I don't know if it's good though. This is the variance. What's the deck size in Runeterra? It's 50, right?
40.
Because it's 40, it's worse than it would be in Hearthstone because we have 30. I'm also basing the stat relevance in from Hearthstone to Runeterra. If I had a 1-drop card that got +1/+1 immediately in the game, that's huge. That could be the difference of you winning or losing the game. Later in the game, +1/+1 is probably not as relevant. So like this card is entirely dependent on how well you could draw chimes. If you're Yugi himself, this is probably the best card in the game. If all your chimes are at the bottom of your deck, it's garbage. So on average, this card has to just be okay. It probably leans towards better, but I don't think this card is like meta breaking or anything. It just seems toxic.
Bart is very, very, very good. He is in a bunch of tier 1 decks right now. And what those decks mostly try to do is play elusives. I hate elusives with a passion, and Bart makes them even better. I've seen games where you would play a Bart deck against a very aggressive deck, and that aggressive deck would play like a 1/1 that deals 1 damage to Nexus on attack. And then you had the Bart player high rolling, landing 1 chime on their 1-drop and giving them a 2/2. And that would just be able to block the 1 aggressive card from the enemy player, and
correct.
They would surrender because they can't win anymore.
What the heck? So the game's over in turn 1. Yeah, so I was right. This card's extremely toxic.
It can be. There is really high, probably not game breaking right now, but it's just really good.
The thing about a card like this, and like I'm not a game designer, this card is either insane or it's not good enough.
And I showed you one more card to really show how fun Bart decks can be.
Oh, dude, I love the artwork on this card. What the hell? 6 mana 4/6, Medulli the Gatekeeper. When I'm summoned, plant a chime on the top of your deck and then double the that's disgusting.
Also known as Medulli.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah. Okay, Annie. 1 mana 0/2. Attack. I deal 2 damage to my blocker. If it's dead or gone, I deal 2 damage to the enemy Nexus instead. Level up, I've seen you play 6 fast spells. Okay, so basically just 6 spells. That's not burst or skills. Level 1 Annie. If you draw this turn 1, this is really good. Turn 2, probably still okay. Basically, for every single turn that passes, Annie gets a little bit worse. You could put 3 champions in your deck. Okay, this card's probably okay. 1 mana 1/3. When I level up, create Tibbers in hand. Attack. I deal 3 damage to my blocker and stun it. If it's dead or gone, I deal 3 damage to the enemy Nexus. If she attacks, does she attack first and then stun?
The skills always happen first.
So she doesn't take damage.
On her level 2. On her level 1, if the 2 damage doesn't kill her blocker, she will still take damage.
Okay, the level up there is pretty spicy, I'm gonna be honest. Tibbers, 6 mana 5/5 fearsome. Play stun an enemy, then deal 2 damage to all stun or damage. Ooh, that's pretty good. Annie's Disintegrate. 2 mana fast spell. Pick a unit. The next time it takes damage this round, kill. Okay. Okay, so the dream here is like you go like this into Tibbers or something, I guess. Hold on, I gotta really think of this through. Tipper stays alive if Annie dies, right?
Yeah. Correct.
Man, this card really hinges on how good the level 1 is of Annie. The level 1 Annie is good, and this card is very strong. The effect that Tibbers grants is very good. You draw this level 1, this is insane. It doesn't have attack, so it's very interesting. If you draw it on 1, oh my god, it's probably game winning. The fact that you can put 3 champions in your deck is like, if this was Hearthstone and you can only put 1, this card's unplayable. But the fact that you can put 3 and have a good chance of drawing this on turn 1, like if you get this on turn 1, this card's good. So I'm gonna go with this card's at least decent.
Okay, so interesting story. When we had the reveal season, the spoiler season, and all these cards were getting revealed, they saved Annie for like he was the final reveal. When Bart got revealed, everybody thought he was going to be trash. Bart turned out to be very, very good. Everybody thought Annie was going to be the single best card in the game, and she turned out to be just okay. She's not broken, she's not bad. She's definitely above average. Your analysis was actually spot on. If you don't get her on 1, she's like not that good.
Yeah.
The problem is on attack in the early game, she's almost unkillable because she will deal 2 to the blocker, and not that many units early game have more than 2 HP. On defending turn, she has 0 attack, so she literally cannot defend. And if she gets challenged by something, like the keyword where you can choose your blocker, Annie will die and the attack will take no damage. But the thing with Annie is she can be played in very aggressive decks because her level 1 is so good and it will deal a lot of damage to the nexus. But she's also playable in control decks because Tibbers is so strong, her champion spell is so strong. She's good. She's good, but she's very balanced.
Jhin, 4 mana 4/4 Origin. Okay, I gotta read that card first, right?
Yeah.
Virtuoso. Thank you.
I got you.
If a Jhin started in your deck, for every 3 fast spells, slow spells, or skills you play, will you behold Jhin? What does behold mean?
You see him on the board or in your hand. You see him.
Play Lotus Trap. You may put any follower that has a skill into your deck during deck building. Oh, so he's also a Runeterra champion, but his deck building is a lot more open than Bard is.
Correct.
Because there's a lot more followers, I guess, that have skills than whatever Bard's doing. Okay, that is very cool. What is a Lotus Trap? Because they mentioned it. Skill. Lotus Trap. Deal 1 damage to the enemy nexus. If Jhin is in play, stun the weakest enemy. Oh my god. Attack. Deal 2 to all stunned enemies. Level up. You play 12 plus fast spells, slow spells, or skills. Deal 2 damage to all stunned enemies. The base version of Jhin is not super good. I wouldn't say weak. I would say like probably putting this character into your deck or to level up. So what is the level up? 4 mana 4 for quick attack. So quick attack is, just so I remember, you attack before the person gets to defend, right?
Correct.
Deal 4 damage to all stunned enemies and the enemy deck. Okay. All right, we really popped off there. Damn, 4 to the enemy nexus?
Yeah, that's a lot.
Jin's Dancing Grenade is 4 mana slow. Deal 1 to a unit. Create a second bounce in hand at the next round start.
The second bounce is a 0 mana card that deals 4 to a unit.
I gotta think of this from a deck building standpoint because I didn't really think about that from Bard. Jhin enables you to do some very interesting things that no other champion in the game has probably let you do, which is very cool on its own. Because of that ability, this character is very hard to judge because depending on what deck you're doing, this character is either pretty good to very good to like whatever. You're basically putting him into your deck to do it like a crazy combo with something that you couldn't have done before, I guess. And this card only gets better with more cards added into the game. As long as there's a decent amount of stuff that can stun, feels like you want to put this into a deck where you can stun a bunch of enemies. His upgraded version is so like, that's so nuts. I think this card would actually just be played if it literally just said 4 mana 4 for quick attack, deal 4 damage to the enemy next. This card has to be at least good, but it probably has the potential to be insane.
You don't think it's weak?
Okay, hold on. Now you're making me
No, Rarran, it's too late. Jhin is actually the worst out of the 4.
Shut the fuck. It's not. I don't believe you.
Yeah, he is. Jin's deck building, he has like 30 cards available to him. Bard has 6 cards available to him, and somehow Bard is just infinitely more flexible. You can play Bard in many more decks than Jhin. The problem with Jhin is that most skills that you can build a deck with are super aggressive. So he only sees play in aggressive decks, and right now, Noxus is the only way to really make that good. So he is kind of like a pre-built deck with Annie, because Annie also has the same level up. He is really good in that deck because he levels really fast, but a 4 mana 4/4 with no ability on attack, unless they're stunned, is not that good. However, when he's leveled, it's really good, but as an aggro deck, you don't really get there on time. So Jhin is just like a win more card for that deck.
Maybe I don't know enough about Runeterra, but like the more cards that are added into this game, this card gets better and better. That Bard character, what the hell?
Happy chime noises.